This is KGW News at Sunrise.
DV has never really been taken seriously. The restraining orders are false security blankets.
Later this afternoon, a Vancouver mother and her 7-year-old daughter will be laid to rest in the same casket. As family members mourn their loss, they're also calling for action to help protect other victims of domestic violence.
Schools in Woodburn are preparing for a possible teacher strike next Monday. We'll remind you how we got here and give you information on this Friday's half day. Plus,
what are you doing currently to invest in the earth?
I do all organic gardening up at my place, and I'm restoring my property with the native plants of Oregon.
To me, that gets an Earth Day high five. How about it? Earth Day high fives all around this morning. As we get ready for the big day this Saturday, our week-long KGW Good Energy series continues with an Earth Day edition of Drew and You coming up at 5:15.
Oh, that is always fun. And this is also fun. We are live this morning on the Oregon coast at the Seaside Aquarium. Rod has Dog of the Day. Well, the Seaside Aquarium has Octopus of the Day. That is Todd. Yeah, his name is Todd. Yes, I love that. Tons to see and do at the aquarium. By the way, it is the oldest privately owned aquarium west of the Mississippi. Eric Patterson is out there bringing us this live picture. We'll check back a little later in the show and see what else they have to do.
I'm laughing for a couple of reasons. Octopus of the Day is funny. Also, when I hear the name Todd, it always makes me think of a Seinfeld episode where there was a small character named Todd Gack.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Todd Gack.
Yes.
Mr. Gack.
It is Wednesday on the Sunrise Show, and we have Rod Hill handling weather duties for us.
Here we go. Todd, if you're listening, this is the weather forecast. Today's the finale of this weather pattern that started back on Sunday. Really chilly weather or air for this time of the year. Numerous showers coming and going. Yesterday we had hail, we had rumbles of thunder, mainly that I am aware of in the coastal counties. Here's the radar right now. Some rain down in Salem, pretty quiet in Portland. The white is snow. And we actually have snow in the coast range sticking all the way down to about 500 feet. Temperature outside, not bad, 43. But again, today, that morning temp won't do much during the day. 48 at noon, I have us getting up to 52 degrees for high temperature. Actually dry weather overnight tonight into tomorrow morning just for a bit. That's your forecast.
All right, we'll have more from Rod here coming up in just a few minutes. But right now we want to get to our top story this hour. Later today, the Vancouver mother and daughter who were killed last month in Clark County will be laid to rest. Family and friends will hold a private funeral for Michelle Melendez and her 7-year-old daughter, Layla Stewart.
The mom's ex-boyfriend is in jail this morning, accused of their murders. Devin Haskins joins us now with more on this case and a call for more protections for victims of domestic violence.
Yeah, good morning, Brenda. That funeral will take place this afternoon. Michelle and her daughter, Layla, will be buried in the same casket, holding each other. It has been just over a month since police conducted a welfare check at the mom's apartment and found the two of them missing. It would be a few days later before Michelle and Layla's bodies would be found off a remote road in Washougal. Michelle's ex-boyfriend Kirkland Warren was later arrested and charged in their murders. On Monday, he pleaded not guilty to those crimes and remains in jail. It's a case that has many wondering how it even got to this point. Earlier in the month, Warren was ordered to have no contact with Melendez after shooting at her apartment and physically assaulting her. A risk assessment labeled Warren as an extreme risk to Melendez. Warren was given a score of 31, and that was on a scale of 1 to 18. On Monday, after Warren's latest appearance, advocates for domestic violence and family of the mom and daughter called for more protections to help domestic violence victims.
Victims of domestic violence are not getting their voices heard, and if they do voice their concern, then they let the perpetrators out to finish the job. We have to stop that, and if that means amending the Constitution law here in Washington State, so be it. But we need to protect victims of crime, not the other way around, and we keep saying that, and we're going to keep saying that.
A 2020 law would have allowed authorities to monitor Warren with a GPS unit, but it was never used. After his domestic violence risk assessment, KGW has been invited to the private funeral, and we'll bring you more from that service later this evening. Brenda?
Devin, thank you. Friends held a candlelight vigil for 28-year-old April Newcomb Cripe outside the Wimbledon Square and Gardens apartments in Southeast Portland. The mother of two was shot and killed near Reed College Saturday night. Police say they found her body around 11:30, and any suspects had already left the scene. So far, police have not made any arrests. April's friends say she loved her two kids more than anything.
She's an awesome mom. And her babies miss her so much.
She spread a light around this world that we were blessed to be able to know.
Yeah.
Anyone with information about the murder is asked to contact Portland police. Also, her friends have set up a GoFundMe to help with funeral expenses. We've posted more information on our website, KGW.com.
I don't know if I will ever fully recover my voice because I'm still unable to breathe on my own.
This morning, we're hearing from victims of the man who opened fire at a racial justice protest at Normandale Park in Northeast Portland last year. He shot 5 people that day, killing 1. Yesterday, a judge sentenced the man responsible, Benjamin Smith, to life in prison. KGW's Alma McCarty was there and heard from survivors and witnesses.
February 19th was a day that was a traumatic and horrible event, is the only way to sum it up.
Because June Knightley did not survive. The 60-year-old was shot at close range and murdered by Benjamin Smith, a man who prosecutors say confronted a group February 2022 at Normandale Park as the women prepared to provide traffic safety for a racial justice protest.
Ben Smith, you saw a group of unarmed, friendly, powerful women and sought to steal their life from them. I remember asking you when I arrived and witnessed you screaming and pointing your finger at June through her window, if you really felt good about intimidating a bunch of women.
How are you supposed to de-escalate someone who doesn't want to be de-escalated? How can you feel like you said or did the right thing ever again, knowing that no matter what you did in that moment, you were not able to stop your friends from dying, sustaining life-changing injuries?
Smith has pleaded guilty to Knightley's murder and to shooting 4 other people. One of those survivors testifying virtually.
I was shot in the neck and paralyzed on February 19th, 2022. I don't know if I will ever fully recover my voice because I'm still unable to breathe on my own.
And another survivor shared some of what she recorded on her helmet camera that night.
Most of what you'll hear on this audio is my voice. It's a short compilation. It's just a few minutes of an unfathomable nightmare that spun out far longer.
Dude, stay with me, okay? I'm right here. Is there an ambulance coming?
After more than an hour, Smith's attorney addressed the courtroom.
Mr. Smith just, there are no words, just unfathomable remorse that he has for what he did to these folks. So,
nothing?
We have...
You got nothing? Not even sorry?
People clearly upset and disappointed despite his lawyer's statements. The perpetrator who impacted so many lives had absolutely nothing to say. The judge sentenced Smith to life in prison with the possibility of parole only after 55 years. Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Other headlines this morning. Woodburn is taking a half day this Friday to prepare for a possible teachers' strike on Monday. Principals are supposed to update parents on the details by today. Contract negotiations fell apart last month. Teachers and the district have been discussing pay, class size, prep time, and special education caseloads since last summer. A rally is scheduled outside the district office this evening at 5 o'clock. Legacy Health says it'll reopen its Mount Hood Medical Birth Center by July. In a letter to the community, Legacy apologized for the stress, confusion, and disruption caused by the closure. Legacy previously said it will submit a reopening plan to the Oregon Health Authority. Legacy closed the Gresham facility in March without approval from the OHA. Patients have since been diverted to Randall Children's Hospital here in Portland. Oregon's wolf population grew a little bit last year. Wildlife officials released their annual wolf report yesterday. It shows the population grew from 175 to 178. It also counted 20 deaths, some of which were illegally put down for killing livestock. Most of the wolves are in Northeast Oregon, but there are 4 packs living in Western Oregon. And those are some of your morning headlines.
All right, let's talk about Oregon and Southwest Washington weather now, because it has been a lot of the same since the beginning of April, Rod, and it's going to be more of the same today.
Yes.
More of the same.
Golly, we're getting good at this, aren't we? Yes. Probably been wearing the same coat all month. It's probably getting a little dirty by now. Here's a look at our satellite picture. Again, this is a chilly flow of air coming straight out of the Gulf of Alaska. This is the final day of this particular episode that started with a cold front back on Sunday in terms of showers feeding in, numerous showers at times. Snow levels sticking down to about 500 feet in the Coast Range this morning. We had hail yesterday, and we had some reports of thunder and lightning. I know we had lightning detected when I was working shift yesterday morning in some of the coastal counties. Here's radar right now, snow and white over the Cascades, Coast Range here. Otherwise, currently it's dry in downtown Portland. Traveling, here's snow on Highway 26, Upper Government Camp, where it's 28 degrees. You can see the snow in the air over Santiam Pass, where it's 25. Last several days by noon, the Cascade Passes have generally been showing wet pavement as temperatures warm up just a bit during the day. We'll expect that again on this Wednesday. And if you are traveling over the Coast Range, snow roadside, a little bit of looks like slushy conditions on Highway 26 at 1,400 feet. That's at 33 degrees, but this is interesting. That's snow in the air all the way down to 589-foot elevation on Highway 6 at Lee's Camp, where it's also about 33 degrees. So be prepared. Some snowy conditions over the Coast Range as well this morning. Early morning numbers now down to 40 in Salem, 38 in Eugene, out in the Dalles, 39. It is freezing once you get farther out to the east. It's 20 degrees this morning out in Baker City. Here's a look at Futurecast. Scattered stuff at 9 o'clock this morning. This is just more of the same, right? The bright colors, the yellows indicate the chance of some downpours with hail, maybe a rumble of thunder. Now, notice this evening, it starts to dry out here, and we still have a forecast that calls for the showers to completely end overnight. We'll wake up tomorrow morning to dry weather. Now, during the morning hours, here's rain returning to the coast, and then we get into the afternoon, and rain returns to Portland, Salem, and up through Longview. This is a wave that breaks up mainly overnight. I don't see much rain on Friday, but there's a chance of a few showers. All right, valley forecast back up to about 50 degrees today. Here's a look at our 4 p.m. map. And yeah, most of us will spend the day in the 40s to just getting up to about 50. Friday, warmer, 60, best chance of a shower in the morning. Saturday, 65, best chance of showers in the afternoon. Sunday, best chance of showers all day. And that's your forecast.
You know, Rod, your 7-day forecast there holds the answer to the following question. Do you know what day exactly is Earth Day?
Is it April 15th, I think it is?
It's not.
Am I like right, April 12th?
It's not.
So then I'm not going to guess anymore.
I love a man who knows when enough is enough, right? But the question still remains, where does Earth Day land on the calendar exactly? And when was the first Earth Day? Here's one more. What is the theme of this year's Earth Day? We have all those questions and their answers coming up next in an Earth Day edition of Drew and You.